Kia ora everyone, back again here with some more Middle-earth based sets and finally finishing the Fellowship on this channel. This here is set 9470 Shelob Attacks from the LEGO Lord of the Rings line, which debuted in 2012. The set here was released as part of Wave 1, 227 pieces in total and technically 3 exclusive minifigures. It gets a little grey there though, but we'll be sure to cover it here. This retailed at the time for $20 USD before tax in 2012. Here in NZD it was $50. Now today in the aftermarket space, this here is currently valued at around $200 rounding up, or 112 NZD in second-hand condition. This was annoyingly now in retrospect one of only 3 Return of the King base sets, though we do now have a 4th one with Barad-dûr technically speaking. The set overview there is a small cave-like inclusion, along with a scary spider inclusion, which in the movie terrified me and kids all over the world at release. This is after she went from woman to spider thing or whatever happened there, I don't know, ridiculous stuff. We start off with a small cave build, which is basically a resting spot for Gollum to be hiding out in. Earthquake damage meant that this side build there was always the part being damaged and broken up, interestingly enough, and it was basically always just a missing inclusion from my display. I've only just been able to recently rebuild it after all these years. It's a very simple build that uses these cool green vine pieces for some old plant life rooted into the rock there. The build features a play gimmick there where you can take Gollum and fling him forward. This is I think meant to replicate him jumping down at Frodo after he escapes the cave. You can send that little freak flying there and it works really well. It is always going to be your simplest features that will achieve the most. I wish this cave here was a bit more substantial though. Like I said, it was always broken down or missing just from the disruption of living in an earthquake-centered city, but because the build was rather flat, I never really had that motivation to fix it like I did with Shelob, which is as good a time as any to take a look at the main build there. It is one giant spider. Big LEGO spiders are still a build idea that the LEGO team love doing. I think Harry Potter has just had its 3rd or 4th giant spider set released now, though that spider isn't nearly as big as Shelob is. Really scary, freaky looking thing up close there. The build there uses some hinges for its legs, and it's one of those weird balancing act releases where the body itself is really top heavy, so you need to have everything kind of lined up perfectly in order to hold that spider build. It looks really cool though, and you can see the spider is currently above the ground there, so the legs do in fact work. Up close we have a printed piece with its eyes of the scary beast. A detail I love there is the fact that one of those eyes is permanently closed, as this is the eye that Sam stabs. We also have some pincers there, and I think the head is on a hinge so you can move it up and down from that jaw. The legs are all the same, built 8 times over, so it's not the most fun thing to build there, but it does need to be done. There's articulation points in 3 different spots per leg, and underneath you can see the hinges on how they move under her body. It's the same hinge piece, but the front 2 face forwards and the back 2 face backwards. Each leg there is paired up in 2s. You can get some really good poses out of them. It is very dynamic, and I remember the stop motion community at the time made some amazing work using this model. Underneath that build there, we have a small set of wheels, so that when placed on the surface, Shelob can still be movable on the ground. It doesn't quite work for me though. For one thing, the legs need to be abnormally high in order for this thing to work, and ultimately, I'm just kind of scraping her alongside the filming space there. I don't think these work nearly as well as intended, or maybe I'm reading the situation wrong. These sections on the body there are placed on hinges just for design wise. The movement there isn't intended to be a function, and brittle brown 2000 pieces mean that these parts here do have some cracks in them unfortunately. The back section of the spider there is on a clicking bionicle type joint, and it features a hook there at the back connected to a string. And as I start to tug on the string, this thing just keeps going and going and going. I can only zoom out so far, you know? Eventually that string there does stop and we finally reach an endpoint. It's a pretty long string, and according to Brickset, it was only ever used for this set alone. Now the string is a thin material and Shelob is quite a heavy build, so you could try and attempt to dangle it if you wanted to from a display, but I don't think it's going to be a very good idea. The string is actually included here to be used in tying up Frodo. This is after he is attacked by Shelob and cocooned, which is another terrifying moment from the most terrifying entry of the series. I think that the string inclusion does a decent enough job, though of course in the movie, Frodo is really well and truly in there. Here, not so much coverage, but it's a kid's toy and I think it does it just fine. In order to get that string wound back up, you must first release Frodo and then spin that wheel located underneath Shelob there. It takes a while or so this is some sped up footage, but I should also show off that once we pop the hood there, we can see the gears inside the body and we can see that the string is managing to go through these 2 studs there, which help to keep everything in line. Spinning that wheel and getting that string back in, it's a process, but eventually the set is set back up again. Pretty cool feature overall. It's the minifigures here that really shine with this release. Like I mentioned, technically all 3 here are exclusive, but really only one is a true character exclusive release. But even then, every character has now since then been re-released now that the theme has been revived. This here is Frodo based on his appearance from Return of the King, kind of. This is actually the same Frodo figure that we've already looked at here on this channel from the Weathertop set. The difference here, and what makes him an exclusive in this set, is the use of the grey cape. The exact same grey cape that Sam uses, who is also in this set. It's one of those uses repeated parts to form a unique combo sort of exclusives. He features his Sword of Sting and the One Ring as his accessories, which are great specially molded pieces that have actually gone on to be used in some other sets and occasional themes too. The best feature of this Hobbit here was the introduction of a new hairpiece. Frodo here presenting 3 brand new pieces was insane levels of detailing. If I remove that cape and I show the double-sided expression, LEGO just reused the same stabbed by a Morgul blade expression, which doesn't quite work for Shelob, but I don't think the average person noticed nor minded, so I understand that reuse inclusion there. This is Frodo compared to the Fellowship of the Ring variant. Again, it's the same one, but the cape is green. When I was a kid though, I was always let down in this depiction. I felt like there could have been a more clearer distinction between the appearances, so I actually went and made one myself. I gave him white sleeves because I just loved that look when I was a kid. I've given him a backpack piece there as well, and I actually did paint Sting blue when I was a kid because the set gives you a couple of spare, so why not? And I know the paint job is bad, but I was 12, give me a break. So this is now my side-by-side for movie 1 to movie 3, and I just think it works better overall as an easier way to tell the two apart. Samwise Gamgee there is the only true exclusive character, at least for the time being. Sam somehow amazingly went from having only 1 minifigure released period to now suddenly having 4 releases. He's one of the more reused characters now. Sam uses that same usual hobbit and dwarf sized sword, and he features a diamond there which is used to represent the Phial of Galadriel, the item that she gifts to Frodo when they departed from the first movie. If I remove that cape and I change the expression, Sam there features a double-sided faceprint with a more determined look, as well as a scared expression, which I think are both great picks for this little hobbit. And to better match my Frodo, for Sam, I also gave him a backpack piece, and I also gave him a frying pan weapon which he uses in the game for cooking puzzles. And finally we have Gollum, who was an amazing new fresh minifigure design. He's hardly a minifigure though, he uses parts that don't really match any of your traditional minifigs. He uses new arm pieces which were labelled as animal arms, only ever used for Gollum by the way. It's like a weird little hybrid of the droid and skeleton arms. He features a stud on his back there and details of strands of hair and big blue eyes. I personally love the kid-like translation that LEGO went with here for this release. He's a really gangly looking freak of a figure, and something that I would always do with my displays. The arms can't be moved for a natural thing, but for a display, I think it looks really great. In the game, Traveler's Tales animated him to be very fluid with their movements, and this chunk of plastic can't really replicate this, so this was my best attempt at showing some agile movement. This here is Gollum compared to the Hobbit release for the figure, which was featured in a small Riddles of the Dark Cave set, an amazing set mind you. That set made Gollum a slightly cheaper figure to get hold of. That set there was half the price of what this one was, but the figure looks very strange to me. It's meant to be a younger one, but he kinda looks a bit more disheveled. I still like both of these figures as weird releases from LEGO, and I don't really like the modern day remake that we saw in the Barad-dûr set. The instructions for this set there are themed to be a map, which we can see on the inside there. We've got some explanations on the wire inclusion, and then we see the set all built up there at the back. The next page shows us an advertisement for the website, and then we have the minifigure roster for the first wave of figures. This is the same roster we recently looked at in the Mines of Moria video, but now on a smaller page. The next page there advertises some of our sets. We have here Weathertop, which is a set I covered on this channel last year, a really great display and play set, and featuring a couple of rare minifigures. Then the next one there's another set I covered on this channel last year. This is the Helm's Deep set, which is another really great standout release that may or may not be next in line for the adult remakes. Flipping us over, we now have 2 plain ads, one for the game which released along the same time, and the other one here notifying the consumer that LEGO Hobbit products were on the horizon. Finally the winning kid, and that wraps us up here. I think everyone bought the Shelob set here for 2 reasons, Sam and Gollum, because we didn't have the other Gollum figure yet. It was the definition of a set that you bought just for your minifigures back in the day, but because the set's actually a pretty good one too on top of that, you don't feel like you were being taken advantage of. You see, nowadays, I see lots of adults proclaim happily that they're gonna buy bad releases for those minifigures. That's just kinda how LEGO gets you, you know? I love these minifigures too, and for the release period, it was the only set we had based on Return of the King, which is something that I hope to see fixed in the future. My fingers have been crossed for a proper revival for years now, cause I'd love to see something about Osgiliath or Minas Tirith, but who knows. If you enjoyed this look at an older LEGO Lord of the Rings set, liking this video here and subscribing to the channel does help to support more videos like this one in the future. Thanks for watching everyone, ka kite anō, take care, see you all next time.